Hey friends, welcome to Season 2 of the Blue Sky Lounge, a Disney Imagineering podcast. I am your host, Tyler Iantkow, and this is episode 27. Now, the Blue Sky Lounge is a community where people can come and share their blue sky ideas for the Disney parks around the world. Do you have an idea for an attraction, a restaurant, or an experience? Well, the sky is the limit, and money is no object. We want to hear about it and discuss it. If this is your first or 50th time listening to us, welcome. You can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts or YouTube, and we encourage you to go back and visit our past episodes. Now, our guest this week is Jen, and we are going to be talking about retheming of Tomorrowland in Disneyland. Now, I just want to apologize for the episode. We filmed the interview back in May, so some of the references are a bit outdated as it is September. But please welcome Jen to the show. All right, well, today here on the Blue Sky Lounge, we have Jen with us. Jen, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Tyler. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it. Now, when I asked you if you wanted to come on the show, I said we can talk about anything that you want to talk about. Just run it by me first to make sure we haven't covered the topic. And you suggested the reimagining of Tomorrowland in Disneyland. And I'm like, perfect. We haven't talked about that. Let's talk about it. Now, what is it that you were mentioning before we kind of went live that it was your nephew, I think you said, that suggested the topic, and you're like, yeah, that's a really great topic. Now, why do you think it is that he suggested the topic?
Because it's starting to look in its age. In its glory days, it was a glorious, like futuristic area of the park. It's Tomorrowland. Because as time has moved on, it's kind of as the Tomorrowland that's been forgotten almost, right? Like Tron has come and it's going into Walt Disney World and it's in Shanghai, but this Tomorrowland has kind of stayed still, kind of frozen in time. There hasn't been a lot of changes. So in his mind, and same with mine, as soon as he said it, I'm like, yeah, there can be some reimagined things.
Yeah, absolutely.
About the park.
I was doing some research on it, and the current iteration of Tomorrowland is the new Tomorrowland. It started in 1998. They did a refurbishment for it, and it kind of went into that, like you said, that more kind of futuristic, kind of coppery, bronzy type color scheme, very kind of Jules Verne-esque, steampunk almost. I would kind of put it in a grouping with, and it came about in 1998. And when it came, it was a big deal. I remember when I was a kid, going to the Tomorrowland previous to that, and it was all kind of like white with white rocket ships and things like that. Then we kind of went when it was this new Jules Verne type thing, and it was a big deal, and it looked really, really cool. But it's like you said, it kind of as the kind of like the mid 2000s to like 2010 kind of came along, kind of started to get a little bit older and looked a little bit more kind of worn. And I do agree that it does need a little bit of facelift for sure. I do like the look of it. It's very reminiscent to that of Discoveryland in Disneyland Paris as well. It's based on like the writings of Jules Verne, other authors and things like that, and kind of more steampunk again, like I said. It looks very cool. I personally am just more I like the white color scheme. To me, it's very it's very cliche, but when I think of the future based on movies and things like that, you think of like nice clean white lines kind of thing. And that's my own personal opinion. Like if I was to reimagine it, I would want it to be like nice clean white grays kind of thing, all around there. Like the one really cool thing that I really like about the Tomorrowland in Disney World is, I think it was last year or the year before, they redid the Tomorrowland sign, where it's like this big arch, and it's just like really like nice, crisp, contemporary looking, clean white lines, and it just has like a little sign that says Tomorrowland right at the top. but it's not like jarring to the eye. Whereas you look at the rocket ships currently in Disneyland, and it's like, oh, there it is. That is Tomorrowland.
You just saw it, and that's it,
right? So yeah, that's my personal preference. If I was to do that, I would do it just completely, like, start again from scratch, redo everything, and do it white. That's my personal preference.
I agree with you. Like, I like the Jules Verne version of it in France. Like, I love it. Don't get me wrong. It's great as a full land. Like, it's completely, the land is completely there. But in Tomorrowland, in Disneyland, as I said, it's kind of, you still have some of that white places, or they're trying to modernize it. Like, last year they put in the new big wall murals that were supposed to make it better. I don't know if they do. They were kind of like some sort of, oh, they're colorful. They weren't great in that way. And then there's things like the People Mover that they took out of Disneyland, which I know they can't redo. Yeah. But the support structures are still there. They kind of are just, when you're walking down that small corridor between what is that? Between Astro Blasters and to Star Tours. Thank you. It's so tight in there, and then you've got big pillars in the middle, right? Yeah. Like, they could, even opening it up, I think, and taking some of those pieces out would make it feel even a little bit more modern, because
absolutely 100%
pillars. And then I do like the white. Like, when I think about Tomorrowland, I'm not envisioning like Shanghai Tomorrowland, because that's gorgeous, but it wouldn't work in Disneyland, right? And I would envision more of like what Tokyo kind of looks like too. So they have more up and downs, but they're more whites and creams and that color. And I agree, that's more to me what I see in the future. Maybe it's just too much Star Wars in my head, and I'm thinking about the inside of the Millennium Falcon in my brain, but that's what I'm seeing, right? Those type of colors, right?
That's it's very, when I think of Disneyland, I think very bright colors for sure. Like, you walk into Fantasyland and it's just bright colors everywhere. You know, I was supposed to call it Splash Mountain. Small World is, whites and golds and things like that. And Casey Jr. is always like this bright circus train, and you have Dumbo with his like bright collars and the bright support structure and stuff, the flying elephant and whatnot. And you go to, like Frontierland, and it's all kind of like Westerns, and even though it's browns, it's still like light colored browns. There's not a lot of dark in there. And New Orleans Square, again, really bright colored houses and things like that for like Pirates and Club 33 and all that. Then you get to Tomorrowland and it's all like dark bronze. And it's like, though it is, like I said, it's very eye-catching, the color scheme just doesn't fit. So, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't match that what I have for a Disney kind of. And it kind of is, they did a bronze in the 90s, but we've gone through almost 2 decades since then, right? Yeah. It's time to wake it. And you still have Space Mountain, that's this gorgeous white structure that's always there in the backdrop. That's not going to be bronze, right? Yeah. It's not the Disneyland Paris version of it. That's that matches perfectly in the middle of that kind of land in Paris. Yeah.
The thing, so let's kind of go into this and kind of talk about like different structures and whatnot and what we would like to see. So the first thing that you see when you walk into Tomorrowland is the Astral Orbiter. It's the big rocket ship that goes around and around and around and around. And it's, when they redid it, they put like the planets on there and everything like that. So it represents space and everything like that. I think it fits, definitely. Bring it back to that, white color scheme. And I think if you could like reimagine the planets as like current planets in our solar system, or even, you know, base them off of like planets from Star Wars as like as an Easter egg kind of thing. You could paint the planets as different planets from Star Wars. I think that would be a lot of fun. And like maybe, you know, the rocket ships themselves could be named after like, you know, different spaceships that's been through Disney history. Like one could be named the Axiom, which is from Wally or something. Wally, I think that would be great to have those kind of little Easter eggs hidden in there, but still having, because I remember riding on that ride when I was a kid, and it's so much fun to just like, you know, be in control and go up and down. 4-year-old, you know, little kid is like, yeah, let's go up and down. And then, you know, the parents just like, oh my God. I've been there. I know what that's like. So
you've done that. Me
right?
too. Obviously. Yeah.
So it's something that you need to keep there. It's like a rite of passage for kids almost, I feel. And having that having those nice gems hidden in there, I think would be a really fun addition to it for sure. What would you try to do with it?
I would think the same thing, because when we're talking about Disneyland in Tomorrowland and Disneyland, there is a lot of space theme, right? We've got Astral Blasters, we've got Star Tours, we've got Space Mountain. Like it's all space themed rather than like not having Star Tours there like in other Tomorrowlands. So it's very space-ish themed, and those are space. I would think the similar. Like I would paint off the rocket ships more, and the supports more of a white color to kind of blend them in, rather than those bright, lovely colors. And I never really understood why they did that, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to modernize it. I get it. But the planets, I'm with you. The planets could be some sort of Star Wars or other like actual planets that are in our solar system. And I think it's a great idea to name them with different things. Because I'm like, that would actually, like, I want to be on this one versus this one. And those fun little Easter eggs. Because there is enough kind of space themed stuff that they could stick in there, or name them with like codes that you would have to figure out, because Disney likes to do that like does that really well, right? So kind of like a thing that you wouldn't know, but you would like have to you could figure it out.
For sure.
Right.
The next thing that I think we should talk about is like kind of the building surrounding it.
Surrounding it?
Yeah, the building.
I knew what you were trying to say.
So, you know, there's Star Tours on one side, and like you said, Astral Blasters on the other side. What do you think would be a fitting way to redo those, but still have it be, you know, the Land of Tomorrow?
The Land of Tomorrow. I'm like, I don't think they need to be like completely different. I'm not gonna take out those attractions.
Oh no,
those attractions are just fine the way, but the buildings themselves, I just need a facelift almost from the outside. Like I always also imagine very clean lines when I'm now talking about the features. So something that's not as I said, get rid of some of the old People Mover stuff if we're moving on from the People Mover. But like some clean and something shiny. I always see shiny, like reflective, as kind of a modern theme as well. So not as much in and out and colorful purples and blues as like they stuck around. Just make it nice, clean lines, kind of flat, almost flat, like in some ways, because that way you can, and then make the entrances, you can make the bright colors and like take the blue from Star Tours and make that really bright, or make the green and use that as like a highlighting color. Because I'm seeing in my brain the big kind of tiles, and then you could like almost grout or line it with lights.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
With the different colors. So having the building like kind of light up in green for Astro Blasters and purple, and then blue for Star Tours, and have that lit up in little things.
That'd be so cool.
See, this is my brain goes.
Right?
I'm like, yeah, just because I just feel like it's too many angles that are just trying to be angles, right?
Yeah.
Like just because it's a building.
Yeah. There are some attractions in this land that I'm just currently like, why is this here? It doesn't quite make sense to me. But, you know, sometimes you just got to do with what you got to do, and you can't move anything else. So,
like, yeah, Star Tours is one of them. Like, I get it. It's there now. We're going to kind of live with it.
I was talking about this with one of my guests where we were talking about Galaxy's Edge, and it's like, oh yeah, like we were talking about it in Disney World, and it's like, yeah, they're gonna put it like right next to Star Tours, and they'll probably have to take out the Muppets, and that's gonna be sad, and then they put it where the whole backlot was. It's like, oh, okay, well, they'll move Star Tours into this new. Oh no, they're not gonna move it. All right, interesting choice. Okay. I'm like, all right, they'll do it for Disneyland because it's going to be on the other side. Nope, they didn't do it for Disneyland either. All right.
Just stays there.
Yeah. So it's just interesting that, you know, you have to walk across the parks to go to two different Star Wars things.
Well, that brings up the other thing that's at Disneyland that, again, goes with why is it there, is the Star Wars launch bay thing.
Yeah.
It's still in Tomorrowland. Why is it there? I think it's just a big building that they just don't know what to fill with.
Yeah, 100%.
So
yeah,
it's a big circle they don't know what to do with.
Yeah. Bring the Carousel of Progress back. Just saying.
I'm okay with that.
Right?
I would do that. That could be fine. Or my other idea that I came up with when I was thinking about this last night was bring in some sort of like, do like an innovations like we have at Epcot, like we used to have at Epcot, where you have like innovative stuff, but theme it to Big Hero 6. So when he goes in, and remember when he goes in and he's doing his show with his new things, where they have that whole group of like, why don't we do something like, because that's tomorrow's tech, like that would be really cool there. Like I know they did that house thing that really kind of flopped, but like just more like actually theme it more than just random innovations, which they did before.
Having like that San Francisco Institute of Technology kind of thing would be really cool, and how you could showcase, you know, maybe you could team up with tech giants like Apple and Microsoft and all kinds of stuff, and just be like, you know, what's on your radar 10 years down the line kind of thing, and have like a prototype, or have I envision something like Test Track, where they have like concept cars, and like they talk about different types of concepts that are going through GM and Chevy right now. I think that would be really cool to have that.
Walt did that, right? Like that's how Tomorrowland was before. Like they had the prototype house that was before, like not in the entrance to it, but in that weird house that was on the stilts that was there, that were, and they were all sponsored by different sponsors, right? Because that was a Disneyland thing. But that's why he did it, because he brought in the innovative house. Yeah. So I'm like, why don't we bring that innovative technology back to Tomorrowland, right?
The hard part with that,
California.
Yeah. The hard part with that is that technology changes not just by the day, but by the hour.
Yeah, we know that, right?
Right? Like you, again, not only did you and I work at Le Cellier, we both worked at Apple as well. Like we know that technology changes constantly, and there's nothing that can stop it. So what, and especially with Disney, how long it takes to R&D something and you know, Imagineer it and put it into a park. It takes, you know, 1-2 years maybe to do it at minimum. And then by the time you put something into the park, it's already so outdated. So it's so hard to do that you have to, like I said, you almost have to like talk to these companies and be like, all right, if we want to put something in our park,
we need to think far in the future. We need to think, 10, 15 years in the future. And we need to get this started now so that we can keep ahead of the trend. Because, like, again, talking about Carousel of Progress back in Disney World, if you watch that and you go into the last scene, it's got like a cool, like, almost Hey Siri aspect of it with the oven that goes up to like 1,000 degrees or whatever it is. But then you watch the video game and it's like, oh, that's like Atari almost compared to Disney Infinity, let's say.
Yeah.
Like, you put Disney Infinity on there and it's completely different. So, but yeah, I think all of those are really good ideas. I like the idea of bringing in that new tech to the land, and I really like the Big Hero 6 pull in for it. I think that'd be really cool. Plus, it's a good meet and greet area for Baymax.
Baymax, we need to meet Baymax somewhere.
Right?
Come on.
We need more Baymax everywhere. Baymax is just he's just a big marshmallow.
One of my favorite anything big movies is Big Hero 6.
Right?
I'll go watch it whenever I'm feeling I need something.
Yeah. The other thing that I really feel that doesn't fit is the Submarine Voyage, Finding Nemo Submarine Voyage. Like,
location.
When it was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, even then it was a far fetch.
It's a stretch.
like
yeah.
You're really pulling at the steampunk aspect of that for those submarines there.
Yeah.
But now I feel that ride, and I know that they have one in Epcot with the seas, which makes total sense there. But for a Submarine Voyage with Nemo and Friends, it seems almost like it should be like an animal conservation ride, because the first thing that I think of when I think of that ride is the Marine Institute that Dory goes in to find her parents.
Yeah.
And it's all about, marine conservation and saving habitats and things like that, and it belongs in the animal kingdom almost, I think. So if you could take out the Finding Nemo submarine ride and replace it with anything that could be Tomorrowland themed, what would you do?
My brain always goes back to something Wally, because that's my favorite Pixar.
Oh, that's a good one.
So and then I think it would be like some sort of, I don't know what it would be. But it would have to be something Wally related, because it is the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like it because it's like telling us what we could be in the future if we don't do something, right? So it's kind of like, it's almost a conservation type, as Disney does, but it's not.
That would be really cool. As I've talked about Wally quite a bit on the show, and this is the first time I've ever had this idea. What if you had like a dark ride similar to, like, Mr. Toad or Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin or something like that, where you get in your own personal Wally, and it's interactive in that you have to try and like collect garbage to like help save humanity so that they can come back to Earth. But then you find like the plant, and you go off on this whole adventure with Eve and do that. I think that'd be really fun.
I think that would be fun.
Yeah, like, it doesn't have to necessarily, it wouldn't be like, free roaming or anything where you like specifically drive your Wally around and collect trash yourself, but you go around and like, maybe there's like arms that can bring in like styrofoam pieces of trash or something, and they just kind of like pop out the side that you don't see behind you, so that the next car can collect it and do the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun to do.
And and it's in Tomorrowland, so I feel like it would need to be used like the latest technology to figure out Imagineering could do it. Obviously, would have to be a trackless dark ride because that's what we're doing now, and I love them.
Yeah.
And you could do so many different things with it.
Yeah.
With us.
Yeah, Wally is a very good fit. I really like that idea. I was thinking maybe like a Marvel type ride, like an Iron Man thing.
Yeah.
With all the different suits that Iron Man has. There has to be something that you could do.
They did, like, before it was Star Wars Launch Bay.
Yeah.
They did Avengers in there.
Yeah.
For a short
I
period
remember
of time.
that too. And you got to like...
you could fake try on the suits.
Yeah.
It had all the suits there. But yeah, it would be something fun to, like, actually more invest in something Iron Man.
Mm-hmm. I had Lou Mongello on my show a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about building a Marvel themed land in Florida, and I suggested to him, what if you could do a make your own arc reactor similar to the Droid Depot in Galaxy's Edge, where you could choose to make, like, you know, a circle arc reactor or a triangle arc reactor, and there's like different like pieces that you could do to like make each one different and unique. And there's like a magnetic plate, so you put like one through the underside of your shirt and you connect it through the plate so that it sits on your shirt, and it's not like super heavy where it like pulls down and like makes your shirt look really bad. I think that'd be really fun.
That would be fun. Walking around with that all day, yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, right.
Well,
so
my
if
sister would do it more than me, but I would do it too.
Yeah, but if you could do that, and like maybe the theming for it could be like in Tony Stark's lab, so in like his house in Malibu in the basement, where like, you know, his garage essentially, where all the cars are, you have like the Iron Man suits in the background, and like, in Iron Man 3, all of his suits are stored like underneath the floor, so maybe there's like a glass floor open, and through some magical force perspective, maybe it's like, I don't know, television screens or something that looks down and you could see like all the different suits, and there's like arms like pulling them out and like working on them while you're doing your own thing. I think that'd be fun.
That would be fun. That would be so much fun.
Right?
I would go there.
And Jarvis could like talk you through of how to build an arc reactor.
Yeah.
Or Friday. Or Edith. Edith would be cool too.
Edith would be cool too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Now, I think Space Mountain itself is just classic. You can't really touch Space Mountain.
You
right?
better not change my Space Mountain.
Do not touch it.
Do not touch it.
Just give it like a...
soundtrack's amazing.
Right?
You can change it. You can do the overlays. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
The ride itself cannot change.
Yeah. Just give it like a paint update, you know, fresh coat of paint kind of thing. You're good to go.
Yeah.
The one really, again, doesn't quite fit. If you retheme it a little bit, it can. The one thing I love about Disneyland's Tomorrowland is the Utopia attraction. Compare it to Disney World, and it's like 1,000 times bigger. You get to go off-road in some parts. It's so much fun. And I just, every time I go to Disneyland, I'm like, I say to my family, I have to go on this ride. No matter what, I have to go on this ride. And now, like, that my kids are big enough, we can all go on the ride, and, you know, they can drive the cars crazy, and I'll just, you know, sit back and like put my foot on the pedal, and we'll just go, and they'll just let go, and the car will go back and forth and back and forth. But it's still fun. And I think it could very easily fit the Tomorrowland theme, because right now it's just, you know, a race car type ride. And when Walt built it, though it was, you know, go-karts essentially, they were futuristic looking go-karts. They didn't look like, you know, the 1950s, you know, type cars that you had. They were more streamlined and things like that. So I think if you wanted to keep it with Tomorrowland theming, you could either A, make it more streamlined again, or B, you could go back to that space theme that we were talking about, and then have them be like different types of rovers that go on different planets. And instead of maybe necessarily going off-road into the, you know, forest, maybe it's an alien terrain or something like that that it can go into. Just a thought.
Yeah, my other thought is making them electric cars, completely electric.
Yes. No more gas power.
No more gas power, no
Yeah.
more, like, I know they switched them out to be more friendly because they weren't before, but like, no more gas power, make it completely electric. I know Disney can do this, come on. And then that way, again, we're not killing the environment.
Yeah.
And it is, electric cars are the future, right?
Mhm.
We're talking about them now, people have them now, make them like a thing now. Would also be cool if we could somehow get them to drive themselves if we were driving and didn't want to drive them.
Yeah.
I know it's not as much fun, but like
Autopilot.
Autopilot for them,
Right?
like a Tesla. Come on.
I was gonna say, have
Disney.
Tesla sponsor it.
Come on, Tesla. And that for we could have an autopilot option, which would still be safe because you still have the rail.
Right.
But it, like my family, it's one of the rides that we have to ride every time we go.
Yeah.
And then different people ride with different people. I don't drive all the time. Sometimes I'm a passenger and sometimes I'm driving.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all have pictures and the selfies.
Right. You almost it would be really cool too if they could make a stand on the car itself that you could attach your smartphone to.
That'd be awesome.
So then you don't have to hold your phone out for the whole time and your arm gets tired. You can just put it on there and be like, yes, I want to do a selfie time lapse or whatever of this and actually drive it and not have to like drive and like hold your phone at the same time.
No distracted driving. They're teaching kids distracted driving.
Hands free. Come on, Disney. Hands free driving.
That'd be cool if the car talked to you though too. Since we're talking about different, like making it electric, having it like talk about like maybe like where we're walking, like where we're driving through, make a fake storyline kind of to go with it too.
That'd be cool.
Because make it a little bit more futuristic, immersive in that way.
The one thing too that I would love to see with Tomorrowland is solar power. If they like made all of the roofs have solar power on it and try and like run that land just on solar power, much like what Ellen's Energy Adventure used to do, I think that would be really smart. And especially if they did like electric ride vehicles for Autopia, that solar power could then power those ride vehicles, right?
Yeah.
Like, why not?
And it gives you that sleek look on the roofs, right?
Right.
Like we like to see that shiny, sleek look.
And if Tesla sponsors Autopia, you could have Tesla Solar do all the solar panels.
Solar panels.
Just saying. Come on, Elon Musk. You and Bob Chapek need to like get together and do this little
collaborating. That you used to do with Apple all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
We know.
Right. That's awesome. Very cool. Is there anything else that you would like to see changed in Tomorrowland?
Well, there's a big theater space that seems to be not as exciting or important. Or like we brought back Captain EO, which I loved because that brought me back to my first trip to Disney because Captain EO was big. But now it does stuff sometimes and there's maybe something on, maybe there's not something on. And I feel like it's just Disney could do again more with thinking innovative in that space. So maybe it's a new type of theater experience, right? So I don't know what that would look like, but I just feel like that's just another empty waste.
Yeah.
Complete waste.
What if they could make... What if AMC could sponsor it, or like Cinemark or some U.S. film corporation? And what if they made it into an actual movie theater? But not only is it a movie theater, like let's say, Black Widow's coming out in June, coming up.
Yeah.
What if they made this an actual theater where all of the seats are like D-box seats and like they move while the movie's going on, and they have like the things that emit the scents into the air, and it's like fully immersive kind of thing. And like when it's raining in the movie, like it's like little droplets on you, or when it's foggy, like there's like mist on the floors. Like it would be really cool. And I would, not only would I like to do this, I would pay extra when I am like, not only am I paying to go to Disneyland, I will pay extra to go see a movie in this theater where I can get fully immersed in this film for an hour and a half, 2 hours, however long this movie is.
Yeah.
I think that would be a lot of fun.
I feel like Disney doesn't even need a sponsor. I'm sure they can figure, because they figured out 4D already with like different things. They just need to figure, and moving seats and stuff. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
I know they can do this.
Yeah.
I'm sure they can figure like they could get this done.
Yeah. Well, like Captain EO, the whole theater moved. Like, why can't they make it for it's just, and like great thing about like D-Box seats is the production company has already like programmed it into the movie. So the once the movie runs, the program for D-Box knows exactly what to do. And if they just put, 150 D-Box seats in the theater, though it's gonna be so much money to do it.
Come on, they have some money hanging around, maybe.
Right? So what if they lost like over $1 billion this past year because of COVID?
Yeah. We'll make it back. We know.
Right? It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
But they could do this, and like I said, they could charge for it. They could charge $20 to go see a movie in like this special Disneyland theater. And yeah, it's cutting into your park time for the day. But how cool would that be?
Yeah. That'd be the coolest.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. Is there anything else that you can kind of think of that you'd like to see in Tomorrowland?
I want them to bring back the band that they used to have at Disneyland. Have you watched that documentary?
Which one?
The Tomorrowland, the one with the band that was in Tomorrowland.
No, I don't think so.
The
Maybe.
80s. I can't remember. Oh, Halix. That's the name of it. Halyx. So they had a band that played for a very short time during the 80s.
Okay.
In Tomorrowland, and they were like aliens, and they were a rock band, and they had got this cult following after it. There's I don't even know where I watch YouTube, maybe? Okay. There is a biography about it. And so they go back and meet some of the bandmates that were in them. And they were in these heavy, like this guy was on like a heavy, almost like a Chewbacca Wookiee costume, but it wasn't Chewbacca. But he was like in fur head to toe and playing the bass. And
nice.
They recorded it. And I'm like, that would be fun just to have.
Yeah.
Because they had live entertainment. It was the place to be on a Saturday night, supposedly. It was like to come back to Disneyland.
That's awesome.
To see this band, and they were a very short run in their lifespan, but when you talk about Halyx, Disney hardcore fans from that time period, like,
that's awesome. I never knew about this. I'm very excited to research it and see it.
Some new Disney knowledge that I had that Tyler doesn't have. I was like, awesome.
I know, right? Crazy.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'd like to bring it back, or bring back some sort of like live rock music like that from the future, because why not?
Yeah.
I'm like, we gotta Halyx. Halyx. You gotta look them up. You can find out, get some more Disney knowledge in your brain for
right there you go.
Yeah.
Who needs like, fractions from 5th grade? No. Disney knowledge all the way.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, Jen. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I had a blast reimagining Tomorrowland with you. Hopefully it can get there one day and see a new revitalization in that area.
Yeah, it's not Tomorrowland that they've forgotten. The forgotten Tomorrowland?
Yeah, not Todayland, but Tomorrowland. So
yeah, exactly.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I would love to have you come back on and we can talk something else.
For sure. Anytime.
Reimagine something else. And before we go, people might not know this, but you have your own podcast called Buena Vista and Main Street. So tell me a little bit about Buena Vista and Main Street.
So I do have a podcast that I do with my sister called Buena Vista Main Street. Disney, obviously, because
Obviously.
that's what we talk about. We named it Buena Vista and Main Street because Buena Vista Street being kind of in California Adventure being like that fun street, more a little ragtimey. It's kind of like more my personality, and she's more straight and narrow, so kind of like Main Street. So
Okay.
she would admit it as well, as we know. So we have a good time just chatting about all things Disney. So we kind of have just started getting off the ground and talking about princesses. Our favorite episode about all about princesses and princes, and then villains and Disney memories, and talking about all different stuff. So not just Disney theme parks, but also characters, but also things that we do in parks. So
That's awesome.
Kind of like anything Disney.
Very
kind
cool.
of cover it all.
All right. Well, head on over, check out Buena Vista and Main Street. Give Jen and her sister some love by listening to their podcast. Do you guys have any websites or social medias or anything that they can go check out?
We are on Facebook, Instagram. The only thing we don't have is Twitter yet because we haven't done it. And our website is Buena Vista and Main Street. So just Google it and you'll be able to find us.
Excellent. Perfect. Well, thank you again, Jen, so much. And we will definitely go check out Buena Vista and Main Street.
Thanks for having me, Tyler. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks so much for coming on.
Not a problem.
Thanks again, Jen, for coming onto the show. We'll be right back.
Enjoying your time at the Blue Sky Lounge? Be sure to check out our TeePublic store. Show your fandom with thinking, dreaming, believing, and daring yourself to use your imagination. Our store features adult and kids apparel, face masks, housewares like mugs and pillows, tech cases, and much more. To find your design, just follow the link in the description down below. We'll see you there.
Welcome back. Now it's time to hear from you. Rodner, like Jen, had a really cool idea for a Wally dark ride. He said the title of it would be Wally's Autopilot Override. The entrance and exit are the doors through the Axiom, and guests can board a trackless ride vehicle, much like the one in Mystic Manor or Remy's ride in the France Pavilion in Epcot. The ride starts out as a friendly tour of the Axiom until, caution, rogue robots starts appearing on the screens. This moves to a different part of the ride where you would see Wally and Eve dancing with the stars. Now, Rodner, this seems really cool. I really like the idea of going through the Axiom and seeing all of a sudden there's a bunch of rogue robots going around just like in the movie, going all around your ride vehicle. I think that would be hilarious. And seeing the different scenes from the Wally movie is such a great touch. Everybody that I talk to loves seeing the scene where Eve and Wally are flying through the stars, and Wally has his little fire extinguisher to make him fly through the stars. So I think that's a really, really cool idea. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, over on our Instagram page, the Social Disney Dude said they should fix the supports and rebuild the People Mover. Well, Social Disney Dude, you're not alone. Lots of listeners mentioned bringing back the People Mover. Now, when my family goes to Walt Disney World, we always have to ride the Tomorrowland Transit Authority. It is always a crowd favorite, but always seems to have a short line due to the fact that it's a continuously moving attraction, and there's a fast turnaround rate. The other thing I really like about the People Mover is that it's a lot slower than what Rocket Rod's was, obviously. It is nice to just sit back and relax as you take a leisurely travel through Tomorrowland and see the different sights and sounds. And lastly, Jonathan emailed us saying that he would like to have the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea attraction or something themed to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea brought back into Tomorrowland. Now, the only thing that Jonathan didn't say is if it weren't the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea attraction is what kind of other attraction it could be. Now, I do know that there is a Nautilus walkthrough attraction in Discoveryland in Disneyland Paris, so it could be that. But I know that 20,000 Leagues was a very popular and nostalgic attraction for many, and it would be really cool if they did bring it back and see it introduced to a new generation, is what Jonathan wrote. Now, some of the additions that would be fun is if the submarine actually rose and sank in the water. Instead of loading from the top, the guests could load from the side of the submarine. And think of all the Easter eggs you could put in the ride. You could have tributes to the movie Atlantis and see the Ulysses off in the distance. You could still have fish from Finding Nemo, but maybe not necessarily the computer-generated kind. You could maybe have some mermaids from The Little Mermaid or Mermaid Lagoon from Peter Pan. Now, Jonathan, I think this is a really cool idea. I like the idea of adding the Easter eggs into the attraction as well. So I think that's a really cool idea. I really like the idea of Atlantis and seeing the Ulysses submarine off in the distance. That's a very, very cool touch with a very underrated movie. So thank you so much for suggesting that. Well, that's a wrap for this week's show. Thank you to everyone who submitted those ideas. We love Blue Sky Thinking with you. What was your favorite idea? Did anything spark an idea in your imagination? Leave a like or a comment and let us know. Now join us next week as we are discussing the Disney Cruise Line and the new ship coming out, the Disney Wish. Now head on over to our social media platforms to join the fun. The links are in the website, theblueskyloungepodcast.com. And don't miss an episode by subscribing to our channel. Now we'd like to note that the Blue Sky Lounge is not affiliated with Disney in any way. This is a fan-run show featuring fan ideas and artwork that is in no way any true representation of what may or may not happen within the Walt Disney Company in the future. Now thank you so much for joining us here this week on the Blue Sky Lounge, and just remember to think, dream, believe, and dare yourself to use your imagination. Who knows what kind of blue sky thinking you can do from your armchair. Thanks.